Friends, today we are going to talk about such events where someone survived at sea for 76 days and made history. Since childhood, I dreamed of building an automated boat and traveling far across the sea, but that very boat left me stranded at the crucial moment. Defeating death, Sultan survived for 76 days at sea and proved he was alive. During this time, he faced such famine-like conditions that everything around him seemed to be waiting to die. So friends, let's begin this spine-chilling video right away. But before we move forward in the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is free for you, and it really helps us a lot. So let's get the video started. This story begins with Stephen Callahan, a man who was never frightened by the waves of the sea, but rather drawn towards them. A name that made history by surviving alone amidst the silence of death and the vastness of the ocean for 76 days. Stephen Callahan was born on February 6, 1952, in the United States of America. From childhood, he had a strange fascination with the sea. While other children played on land, Stephen would draw sketches of boats. When other boys dreamed of cars and becoming heroes, he would lose himself in nautical charts. The sound of the ocean waves, the roar of storms, and the open blue sky, all of this was the music of life for Stephen. The sea was not just his dream, it was his lifelong companion. Driven by this same passion, Stephen pursued a degree in naval architecture, the science of designing ships and boats. But he wasn't content with just designing boats on paper. He wanted to board them and set out to sea himself. With his own hands, he built a small but extremely sturdy sailboat and named it Napoleon Solo. This boat was about 6.5 meters, or roughly 21 feet long. Small, lightweight, but ready for a sea voyage. In this boat, his dream, his mind, and his determination were all embodied. Then came the day when he decided that he would cross the Atlantic Ocean alone. No companion, no big ship, no support, no helper. Just him, his boat, and a vast, unfathomable sea stretching for thousands of miles. The year was 1982. The month was January. Stephen set off from a coast in France. In the beginning, everything was going according to plan. The wind was with him, and the boat was moving fast. But the nature of the sea is never trustworthy. He had made all the preparations for the journey: water, food, a radio, maps, a compass, and an inflatable life raft and emergency boat that could be inflated. This life raft was about 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. A small floating rubber nest in which one could only sit. And the amusing thing is that Stephen affectionately called it the rubber lover. He had already taken it out and kept it ready on the deck, acting cautiously before the boat even started sinking. He knew that if anything happened, this would be his lifeline. But even so, sometimes life takes a turn that not even the wisest person can imagine. At night, Stephen was resting in his boat, Napoleon Solo. Suddenly, there was a violent jolt, as if something had struck his boat with great force. His eyes opened. There was a sound coming from beneath the boat. Water had started seeping in. There was darkness all around. Only the roar of the waves and the sound of the boat breaking could be heard. Within just a few minutes, he realized the boat could not be saved now. Without panicking, without wasting a moment, he immediately packed the essentials into his life raft: some food, water, a boat knife, a harpoon gun, and plastic sheets for protection from the sun. The boat had sunk. Now, only Stephen Callahan and his small inflatable life raft, the rubber boat, were floating, carried by the waves. Alone, in the middle of the ocean, now the real battle for survival begins. The boat had sunk. It was the darkness of night. All around there was nothing but water, and beneath it, in the depths, death was lurking. Stephen Callahan was now alone, on a small rubber life raft. This was now his entire world. Stephen Callahan knew that no rescue mission, no rescue team was coming to save him. That's why he made a firm resolve within himself that as long as he was alive, he would keep searching for a way out of this situation on his own. The sea was not calm. Waves kept tossing the life raft again and again. Every jolt reminded him that his life was now hanging by a very fragile thread. He had very limited resources. A small solar still, with which he could make the salty seawater drinkable, but it barely produced half a liter of water a day. A little canned food, which ran out in just a few days. A harpoon gun, which he had to use to catch fish. A plastic sheet to protect himself from the sun. And most importantly, it's non-fiction. The first few days were the most terrifying in terms of hunger and thirst. The sun was burning his skin, and the cold at night was chilling his bones. Drinking every single drop of water felt like swallowing fire, because his throat was parched, and his lips were cracked. When the food ran out, he looked at the ocean now. This was his marketplace, this was his kitchen. He noticed that Dorado fish were coming under his life raft. He began to understand their movements, the times they would come and go, their behaviors. Many times before, his hands got burned, the harpoon slipped, but one day he caught his first fish, and that day, for the first time, he felt that he could survive. Now every day was a struggle. One day he caught his first fish. As soon as the sun rose, he would make water, catch fish, and repair the rubber boat. Every day, the skin on his palms would get scraped, wounds would ooze, but he kept working nonetheless. Every night, he would talk to the waves of the sea, sometimes out of fear, sometimes in anger, sometimes in tears. He would dream that a ship had come to look for him, but when he opened his eyes, there was only loneliness. Many times, ships would appear in the distance. He fired flares, flashed a mirror, but no one stopped. Each time, it was as if hope came and sat before him, only to reject him and leave. He was growing weaker and weaker. Because of hunger and thirst, his body was becoming frail and thin. The bones on his face were clearly visible. His eyes had sunk deep into their sockets, but there was still a flame burning inside him that said, "As long as I am breathing, I will not give up." The days kept passing by. 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. Now his body was slowly starting to give up. His eyes were swollen. There were blisters on his lips. The veins on his hands were protruding, and his stomach now looked like a hollow pit. The nights were even more dangerous. The winds would blow his boat here and there. The waves would rise as if the sea itself wanted to swallow him whole. Many times he felt that he wouldn't survive now. But every time, after coming closest to death, he would open his eyes again. Many times his boat would get a hole, and he would repair it. When it rained, he felt happy, because it would become drinking water. But often, after the rain, the sun would start burning again, as if the one above was testing him. He even encountered sharks. Many times, sharks would circle around his boat, as if waiting for their prey, as if he would fall from the boat and the game would be over. His body had become so weak that even the sound of his own breathing started to scare him. His cheeks had sunk in. His face had turned into just bone. There was a depth in his eyes, such depth that it could scare even himself. And amidst this fear, stumbling and struggling, 40 days passed, then 50, then 60. After that, 70 days. By now, he had lost track of the days. Only his breaths kept going. During these days, he saw ships 9 times. He mustered up the courage to call for help, but no one stopped. His rubber lifeboat was so small that it couldn't be seen among the towering waves of the sea. In fact, 2 ships passed so close that Callahan could even hear the sound of their engines. But no one heard the sound of his own screams. Sometimes, birds would circle around him, flying overhead in the sky, as if waiting for the moment this man would perish, so that these hungry creatures could feast on him. And then the days passed, and 6 days, 74 days, and this day felt like being alive again. The date was the 21st of April, 1982. Stephen Callahan was seen that day near the island of Guadeloupe, when the last thread of his life was about to break. Seeing birds circling in the sky, some local fishermen turned their boat in that direction. There, they saw a man lying unconscious in a battered rubber raft. As they got closer, they realized that the man was still breathing, alive, but as if he had returned from another world. But his eyes still seemed to say, "I have not returned in defeat, after a fight." When the fishermen found him alive, they wasted no time at all. They brought him onto their boat, gave him some water and food, and immediately took him to Marie Galante Island, which is located near Guadeloupe. There, he was admitted to a local hospital nearby. Steve Callahan's body was completely broken. He had lost 21 kilograms of weight. His body was covered in bruises, his face was unrecognizable, but his heart was still beating. He was treated at the hospital, but the surprising thing was that he did not need any major surgery or long-term care, because even though his body was broken, his spirit remained unshaken. After a few days of rest and care, he gradually regained his health on that very island. Steve Callahan's story shows that as long as you are still breathing, you don't give up. Life always gives you another chance. We just need to understand and learn how to effectively fight for what is right and just. Thank you very much, dear friends, for your unwavering support and attention. Our heartfelt and sincere thanks go out to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this entire video from beginning to end. If you genuinely liked and appreciated this video, please be sure to share it widely with all your friends and beloved family members, as your support means a great deal to us.